So the next question is, do males and females learn differently? That has been discussed and debated for decades. Countless studies made on the subject. One school is putting it into practice. The guys in one class, the girls in another, and the environments, according to Kiran Chetri, are cooperative for one group and competitive for the other.
Who's up? Over here, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. Tap it. Oh, that is incorrect.
For these 7th grade boys, math is a competitive sport.
I like to call it controlled chaos.
The chaos is part of a program at Woodbridge Middle School in Virginia. Faced with a gender gap in test scores, the school formed single-gender classrooms.
Ladies, take a look.
Testing the growing school of thought that boys and girls are hardwired to learn differently.
The best way for the boys is not the best way for the girls. The best way for the girls is not the best way for the boys.
Dr. Leonard Sachs, author of Why Gender Matters, says the solution? Split them up. Why does gender matter when it comes to learning?
The brain research is showing us quite clearly that the brains of girls and boys develop along different trajectories.
Sachs says math skills develop earlier in boys, language skills faster in girls.
The surprising finding is that the co-ed classroom ends up disadvantaging both girls and boys, ends up reinforcing gender stereotypes. The girls end up thinking that abstract number theory is for boys, the boys end up thinking creative writing is for girls.
Cause and effect.
Proponents of single-sex education say boys learn best with competition and movement.
Set yourselves up over here.
What is it about movement and boys that seem to somehow go together when it comes to teaching?
The boys in general, just if they're in their desk and seated and expected to sit and do their work there, they're more apt to become unfocused. Be disturbed by others, start the tapping, start making the noise.
Megan Kennedy says since the program began 3 years ago, reading scores in the all-boy classrooms are up and discipline problems are down.
This is the math process.
In Kristen Williams' all-girl math class, warm lamplight and desks grouped together reflect the thinking that girls learn best working in a cooperative environment.
Give them a lot of social time, an opportunity to be verbal, to work in partners, to work in groups.
Williams says she's seen dramatic improvements, particularly among girls that struggled in co-ed math classes.
These are just sort of guidelines.
But even with some signs of success, single-sex education has its critics.
If you assume that boys behave one way and you teach to that stereotype, and you assume that girls learn another way and you teach to that stereotype, what you're doing is limiting the option of kids. You're reinforcing stereotypes.
Professor David Sadker, who's written extensively about gender bias in schools, says rather than separating students by gender, schools should work to make co-ed classrooms better.
Creating single-sex schools to improve test grades is a cheap solution to a much deeper problem.
Kiran Chetri, CNN, Woodbridge, Virginia.